Welcome to Anchor Network, where you get updates of things happening around you and things you would like to know. I appreciate everyone who has subscribed to this channel and those who are yet to subscribe. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Click the red button and also click the bell icon so that you'll be notified anytime we publish any news. This time around, we have wonderful news for you that you will be glad that you are aware of. Stay tuned. President Muhammadu Buhari's personal assistant on social media, Loretta Onoche, has insisted that a cabal has taken over the affairs of the National Assembly. Onoche alleged that the cabal works as if the National Assembly was their private estate in total disregard to the welfare of those who elected them. She said this while recalling how Buhari nominated a minister from a minority ethnic group in Enugu State and the Deputy Senate President, Ikweremadu, fought against it, screaming hard and threw a tantrum. The presidential aide made the claim in an article she titled, "This storm before the calm will deepen our democracy." The article she posted on her Facebook page reads partly, "In 2015, Nigerians began the process of recovering their nation from the hardened criminals who hijacked Nigeria for 16 years. With an APC majority in the National Assembly, we had hope for a speedy recovery and transformation of our nation, believing that we all understood the meaning of change. For starters, it took the better part of 5 months of President Buhari swimming through the mud to finally have a glimpse of what looks like a nation from where ministers would be nominated. He was determined to begin to address the issue of marginalization in appointments. Where possible, he reached out to some of the over 200 minority ethnic groups for his ministerial nominees. This did not go down well with the power brokers in our nation. Senator Ike Ekwemaradu screamed hard and threw a tantrum. He said he had never heard of the nominated minister from his native Enugu State, but the Itato Ono Igbo subgroup that produced the Minister of Foreign Affairs felt a sense of belonging in a nation where Ike Ikweremadus of the nation have continuously nominated themselves to serve without a thought for the minority groups in their areas. But it has been a nightmare. A cabal had quickly developed and seized the National Assembly. The cabal worked as if the National Assembly was their private estate in total disregard to the welfare of those who elected them. They do not count. When Nigerians recovered their nation from the hardened criminals that hijacked our nation for 16 years, no one thought the cabal at the National Assembly would become the major opposition to the recovery of our nation. After all, what we promised was to bring about a change in the ways we had done things in the past that favored only a few at the top. She claimed that the cabal waged war against Buhari over his ministerial nominees due to their selfish, self-centered and egocentric nature. All their actions have been selfish, self-centered and egocentric. They wanted the status quo to remain. Consequently, they started by waging war on the president for his choice of ministers. They had a free hand to place their cronies as heads of house committees. But they also wanted to appoint ministers and others for the president. They wanted to run the presidency, own the presidency, and dictate who should be hired or fired. The same cabal is now posing as defender of the ordinary Nigerians. Nigerians are not food. They know the man who is fighting to deepen our democracy experience as a nation. They also know pretenders to the throne of democracy, who have put themselves above the laws of our land and above every one of us. Nigerians know those who have refused to make laws that can help the war on corruption move some step further, sanitize some nation and propel us into the 21st century. Loretta Onoche is talking about the cabals in the National Assembly. She's not talking about the cabal within the presidency, because the president's wife came out sometime to said there are people that have really taken charge of the government, because they knew the people that started with them before 2014 and 2015. But at the end of the day, it's just two people. In the last regime, it was just two people that were running the affairs of the country, which she really cried out that what are the Nigerian men doing? What are the people that started the party with them? What were they doing? The people that made them to come to power in 2015, that where were they? She cried out. She talked about Cabal. And now Loretta Onoche is talking about the Cabal in the National Assembly. So why is it that everything associated with a Buhari is always Cabal? She is not always in charge of most things, because once you are not in charge, that is when you see people taking over. When you are supposed to take some decision and you don't take them, people will take some decision for you. I don't want to totally disregard what Loretta Onoche has said. Every one of us has one blame or the other. We can never discard totally what she has said, because like I always say, Nigerian system of government is faulty. The foundation of Nigerian system of government is faulty, and that is why you see that things are not really working well the way they ought to. Even people who really have good intentions before going into the government house or going into the affairs of the country, those who are opportune to be elected as a leader, once they just get to that position, even if they have good intentions, all of a sudden you see that their mindset will change, because once they get there, there's something that is already there, or there's a system in place that you just have to fall in line. We know that most of them do have a ulterior motive. They have a hidden agenda before taking that office. And we cannot still say all of them, because we still have some people with genuine intentions. But those ones, once they get there, they just find out that the people they are to work with, majority of them do not share the same ideology, do not share the same intention, good intentions that they have before coming there. It's either they are frustrated, or they keep mute, or they join them. They have another plans. Majority of them have another plans different from Nigerian plan, different from the masses plan, different from what the masses expect them to do. And that is why they cannot even pass bill. They cannot make law that will benefit the masses. They cannot make law that will fight against corruption. Who are the people that will fight corruption? Loretta Onoche, the aide to the president on social media, she's talking about fighting corruption when the president himself surrounds himself with corrupt people, when the president himself is comfortable with corrupt people. If you have integrity, you choose your friends. But everything is all about politics. Then you let politics overrule your personal integrity, and that is what is happening. And once you surround yourself with a lot of people that are corrupt, that are presumed to be corrupt, you cannot do much, because once you are pointing fingers at others, people will be telling you you don't have that moral right to do that. And that is what is happening. When you collect money from your enemies, you cannot fight them. When your enemies are the ones that are championing your cause, then how do you want to turn back to them or turn against them and say, no, I can't, you can't do this? You will be handicapped, because you've soaked your hands inside the mud. I know quite all right that the president does not have the moral justification to be able to attack or to be able to speak against those surrounding him, because most of them, in one way or the other, they have one corruption cases against them. Do that. What Onochi has said is not really far from the truth, but even themselves that are working with the president, can they focus on him? Can they walk up to him and tell him that, sir, these are the things that are making fight against corruption or all our policies not to move faster the way it ought to? But thank God now they all have their people, both upper and lower chamber. I think there will be no more Cabal, because I don't know the Cabal she's talking about. Maybe she's talking about the Cabal or she's talking about the National Assembly that just concluded, the 8th National Assembly. But now we have a 9th National Assembly. There should be no excuse of any kind. There should be no complaint. There shouldn't be any complaint now. Nobody is to be blamed. But I don't know whether they're still going to blame. They will continue to be blaming PDP again. Now, both upper and lower chamber, they are in control. So let us see what they are going to do. We know that a lot of them, a lot of politicians, a lot of the so-called leaders, they are all selfish. They just want things to go as usual. But even the president is not helping matter. He doesn't take decisions as at when due. He says it's Baba go slow. You have to be proactive. No, in this jet age, even in the olden days, the old people, they were so proactive. They were so intelligent. Their reasonings were so high. And that's why you talk about, when you talk about elders, wisdom most times is associated with them. So when you don't take decisions as at when due, people will take decisions for you. People will ride on that. People will take advantage of you. The president needs to do the needful. He needs to be proactive. He needs to preempt even the people he's working with. He needs to go ahead of them. If you don't go ahead of your subordinates, they will trample on you. They will frustrate your efforts. Onoche is talking about that it took the president 6 months. It's not really acceptable, because this is the same president that has been working towards to be the president of the country for almost 10 or 12 years. About 3 or 4 attempts. 3 attempts, he got it at the 4th attempt. So what has he been doing before then? What was he doing before then? What were the things he put in place before then? For somebody who is up and doing, even when you are planning something, even if something is going to yield result or not, but you still plan both the positive and negative side. In case this thing happens, what am I going to do? In case it happens the other way around, what am I still going to do? That is when you know somebody who is up and doing. So before they came in that 2015, they must have had like 70 or 80% believe that they were coming in. And those were the times that they ought to have planned themselves. It took president 6 months because he was looking around for people to be nominated, for people that will be put in one position or the other. It's not acceptable. Like they say that if you fail to plan, that means you are planning to fail. Most of the blame still goes to the president. We cannot rule that out. And we still know that a lot of people don't want things to move on the way it ought to. The president might have good intentions, but the problem is that, he's handicapped in so many things. In applying things, I think that's one of the things that is still retarding him in making progress. We, the masses, we do not want to entertain any form of excuse or blame game anymore. So thank you very much. I would like you guys to put your comments down. I would like to hear your take on this issue. Thank you very much for always listening. Bye.